Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's jump right in. We're talking about something almost everyone bumps into learning English. Why direct translations, word for word from your own language just often don't work.
Right. It seems like they should, doesn't it? Logically.
Totally, but then you say it and it just lands weirdly.
Oh, yeah.
Or it's plain wrong.
Exactly. It's this basic instinct to map things directly, your grammar, your words. And that's where things get, well, interesting
Yeah.
and sometimes confusing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, think about I have 20 years. Sounds totally fine in Spanish, right? Or French.
Perfectly normal.
But say it in English and nope, sounds odd. Or how about I'm cold? That's fine. And
Yeah.
it's called also fine.
Yep, both correct.
But I have cold, wrong. Why?
Good question.
And here's a big one for me. Making a photo. So many languages say that.
They do. It makes sense. You're creating an image.
But in English, we always take a photo. What is that about?
Well, these are great examples. They really show how language is just.
Yeah.
They go their own way. They build their own habits, their own patterns.
So that direct route, that logical step-by-step translation, it often just hits a wall with English rules and I guess it's subtle ways of saying things.
Exactly. That's the core of it.
Okay, so today, that's our mission, right? To dig into these translation traps. We want to figure out what they are, maybe touch on why they happen, and most importantly, give everyone listening some, practical ways to start thinking more in English, to sidestep these problems.
Yeah. The goal is by the end, you'll feel a bit more clued in, better at spotting these traps, and hopefully more confident.
Right, so you can actually use the language more naturally.
Exactly. And we're going to focus on sort of three main areas where this direct translation habit really causes the most trouble. Think of them as linguistic quicksand.
Ooh, okay. Linguistic quicksand. I like that.
Yeah.
So let's map out these danger zones. What's the first patch of quicksand we need to watch out for?
First up, false friends. It's a classic. These are words that look or maybe sound really similar to a word in your language, but the meaning is completely different. They're like little tricksters in the language.
The sneaky ones. It really does feel like a practical joke sometimes, doesn't it?
It can feel like it,
Yeah.
but it's really just about how languages change over time, Words might start from the same place, but then drift apart in meaning in different languages.
Okay, give us a clear example, one that could really mess things up.
Okay, how about actual? In English, actual means real or current, like the actual results were surprising.
Right. Real, factual.
But in Spanish, for instance, actual often means current or present day. There's some overlap sometimes, maybe with real, but it's not a perfect match. You can see how that could cause confusion.
Yeah, I can. You might be talking about now and someone thinks you're expressing that it's true.
Exactly. And here's one. This one's a bit more dramatic, actually.
Right.
The English word gift means a present, right?
Yep. Something nice you give someone.
Well, in German, the word gift means poison.
Whoa! Seriously, poison. Okay, yikes. That's not just awkward. That's potentially really bad.
Precisely. It's a stark reminder, isn't it?
Yate.
Don't just assume because words look alike. You really have to check the meaning in that specific language. It's often down to something called semantic drift. The meaning just wanders off over centuries.
Got it. Okay. False friends, avoid them like poison. What's trap number 2?
Trap number 2 is what we can call grammar gaps. This is where the basic building blocks of sentences, the grammar rules, just don't line up between languages.
The concepts might be similar, but how you build the sentence is different.
Exactly. The underlying idea exists, but the grammatical tools you use are just different.
And how we talk about age is a prime example here, isn't it?
It really is. So in loads of languages, you use a verb like to have for age. A direct translation might be, she has 20 years.
Right. Sounds weird in English.
It does. In English, we used to be, she's 20 years old. Or just, she's 20.
So it's a state of being, not a possession.
And same for feelings, often. Like you said, I have cold is wrong. Many languages might phrase it like, I have hunger.
But we say, I am hungry.
Exactly. We used to be plus the adjective hungry, cold, tired. It's about the verb. English has decided to pair with that feeling or state.
It's almost like English puts these things, age, feelings, into a different category in the brain, which then dictates the grammar. Is that fair?
That's a great way to put it, actually. Language really does reflect how a culture sort of carves up the world conceptually. These grammar differences can be little windows into that.
Fascinating. Okay, so we've got false friends, we've got grammar gaps. What's the third big translation trap waiting for us?
This one's all about verb plus noun collocations. These are just pairs of verbs and nouns that naturally hang out together in English. They sound right to native speakers.
But might seem totally random if you're learning.
Exactly. There's often no deep logical reason you can figure out from another language.
And take a photo is the classic example, right?
The absolute classic. Because, I mean, logically, make a photo isn't crazy. You are making an image.
Right. And lots of languages do say make.
They do. But in English, nope. Through centuries of use, it's just become take a photo. It's convention. It's what sounds natural because it's what people say.
It's like words become best friends and just stick together. Give us another common one.
Okay, a mistake. You don't do a mistake in English.
Ah, right. You make a mistake.
Exactly. You might do your homework or do the laundry, but errors, you make them.
These are tricky because the words themselves are simple, but the combo is fixed. Get it wrong, and it just sounds off.
It does sound off.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's more than just sounding off. It can actually change the meaning or cause social awkwardness, like that listener story you mentioned.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Remind us.
Right. So a listener told us they were on a date, and they wanted to say their date was kind, understanding.
Okay, good compliment.
Yes. So they translated directly and said, "You're very sympathetic."
Oh, dear. Because sympathetic in English can mean you feel sorry for someone, right? Like pity.
Exactly. So instead of "you're kind,"
Yeah.
it came across as "I feel pity for you."
Wow, that completely backfires. Awkward.
Totally awkward. It really shows, it's not just about word definitions. It's about how words work together in English, the nuances, the common pairings.
Okay. Definitely need to watch out for those collocations.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get really specific now. What are some of the absolute most frequent, common, direct translation mistakes you hear learners make? Let's list a few offenders.
Right at the top probably is "I am agree."
Ah, yes. Classic.
So many languages use to be here.
Yeah.
But in English, present simple. You just say "I agree." The verb agree works on its own. No
Yeah.
am, is, or are needed.
Definitely one to nail down. What's another really common one?
We touched on it, but it's worth repeating. I have cold instead of I'm cold.
Right. The to be verb, again, for feelings or physical states.
Mm-hmm. Being cold, hot, tired, hungry in English. These are states you are in temporarily, not things you have. So it's I am plus the adjective.
Makes sense when you put it like that. Okay. Next on the hit list.
Explain me. Happens all the time.
Instead of
Explain to me. It's about the preposition. In English, the verb explain usually needs that to when you say who you're explaining it to. You explain something to someone.
gotcha. Those little prepositions can be sneaky. Okay, one more super common error.
How about asking for a name? People often translate directly and ask, how is it called?
Ah, but we'd say,
What is it called? How asks about the way or manner something is done. What asks for the name or identity. So for names, it's what.
right, how versus what. Subtle but important. These are great. Just knowing these specific common ones is super helpful, isn't it?
It really is. Awareness is the first step.
Okay, so we know the traps, the false friends, grammar gaps, collocations, and we know some common mistakes. But the big question is, how do we actually stop translating in our heads? How do we start thinking in English? That feels like the real mountain to climb.
It does. And look, it takes conscious effort. It takes practice, but it's absolutely doable. One thing I really like is the 1-minute challenge.
Okay, sounds intriguing. What is it?
Super simple. Just try to describe what's around you right now, out loud, in English, for just 60 seconds.
Without translating first.
Exactly. Don't plan it in your native language. Just look around and say what you see using the English words and sentences that come to mind. Don't worry if it's perfect, just talk.
That sounds like good practice for thinking on your feet in English, building that direct connection. What else can people try?
Another thing is trying to switch your internal monologue. You know, those little thoughts you have all day.
Like, what's for lunch? Or, I need to remember to call.
Exactly. Try consciously to have those thoughts in English first. Instead of thinking it in your language and then translating, just think the English version directly. What will I eat? I should wear the blue shirt.
Okay, so actively trying to use English for your own internal chatter, I can see how that would help rewire things a bit.
It really does. And another fun one is like a local mimicking thing.
Mimicking.
Yeah, when you're watching TV shows or movies in English. Hit pause sometimes right after someone speaks. and try to repeat exactly what they said.
Not just the words.
Nope, try to copy the intonation, the rhythm, the way it flows. It helps you internalize how English sounds, the music of it, not just the dictionary meaning.
Oh, I like that. It's like shadowing, but you're really focusing on the delivery, too. Good tip.
And one more practical tip. Get an English-only notebook.
Meaning?
When you learn a new phrase or expression, write it down. Maybe write the sentence you heard it in. But, and this is key, resist the urge to write the translation in your own language next to it.
Ah, so you force yourself to understand it in English?
Exactly. Maybe write synonyms in English, or draw a little picture, or explain it in simpler English words. Keep it all within the English zone. Avoid that translation crutch.
That's a brilliant idea for immersion. Okay, these are great practical tips. Now, let's give our listeners a specific mission for the week, our Translation Detox Challenge.
All right, let's do it. This week's challenge has 3 parts. Ready?
Lay it on us.
Okay, part 1. Spot the trap. Just take a minute this week to identify one direct translation mistake you think you make sometimes. Could be the age one, I have 20 years, or maybe I am agree. Just recognize it and then actively think. What's the correct English way?
Okay, step 1, awareness. Got it. What's part 2?
Part 2. Go no translate for 5. Find just 5 minutes sometime this week. And try to describe something, maybe your morning routine, what you did yesterday, entirely in English, without mentally translating first. Just speak.
5 minutes straight of thinking and speaking only in English. That sounds challenging, but really useful.
It can be, but it forces that direct English thinking muscle.
Yeah.
Okay, final part.
Part 3.
Teach a friend. Pick one of these English quirks we talked about today. Maybe take a photo versus make a photo. Or why we say I agree, not I am agree, and explain it to someone else.
Ah, teaching reinforces learning. Good one.
Exactly. Explaining it really helps solidify it in your own mind.
Fantastic challenge. And just to show it works, we heard from someone who did something similar, right? They said,
Yeah. They said, realized I kept saying I am agree. Now I just say I agree. See little wins.
Totally. Those small corrections really add up over time.
Absolutely. Every single time you consciously choose to think directly in English, you're making progress. You're building fluency, sounding more natural, gaining confidence. It all counts.
So wrapping this up then, the big message is direct translation, it feels intuitive, it feels like it should work.
But it often leads you down the wrong path in English. Creates errors, sounds unnatural.
Right. It's like trying to follow a map for Paris when you're actually in London. Some street names might look similar, but you'll get lost pretty quickly.
That's a good analogy. The key is really training yourself to operate within the English system. Learn its patterns, its logic, its quirks.
Yeah, embrace the quirks. Otherwise, as you said, you might end up sounding like what was it, a dictionary explosion?
Yes, like you just threw a dictionary at the wall and are using the words that stuck. The words might be right individually, but the combination is just off.
Exactly. So next time you hear make a photo, maybe you can gently say, in English we usually take photos. Like we're stealing the moment.
Yeah, maybe. Or just gently correct them. It's all part of learning.
Okay, great stuff. Now, before we go, a little taste of our next deep dive.
Ooh, what's next?
We're tackling something truly baffling about English. Silent letters.
The bane of many learners' existence.
Totally. Why does English love letters it doesn't pronounce? We'll look at words like night. K-N-I-G-H-T. Why the K? Why the G-H?
Or psychology, with a P.
Right. And island? Where did that S come from? It feels like these words are just messing with us.
They can certainly feel that way. It'll be a fun dive into history and pronunciation rules, or lack thereof sometime.
Exactly. How to stop guessing wrong all the time. So that's coming up next.
Looking forward to it.
Ultimately, this whole language learning thing, it's more than just words and rules, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's about understanding a different perspective, a different way of framing the world. It's embedded in the grammar, the idioms.
Yeah. And getting past direct translation is a huge step towards not just speaking English, but really starting to think in English, connecting on a deeper level.
Well said. It's about bridging that gap between languages and truly understanding.
Thanks so much for digging into this with us today. I hope this helps everyone listening avoid some of that linguistic quicksand.
My pleasure. Keep practicing that direct English thinking.
We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.